So pranams. Who would like to join or start first? Or if there are any questions, also you can actually reach out or ask your questions. Jaramanji, yes, you would want us to go?
Yes, I was traveling last 3 weeks, so I could not join. So maybe I can give a little bit of inputs, whatever I learned.
Sure, please.
Shall I start from chapter 2 or chapter 3?
You can do from chapter 2 onwards. Yeah. Chapter 2 and 3, both you can do.
Okay. Then I'll have to go a little bit faster because...
Now you take your time. I mean, most of them have done, so you can take your time.
Yeah. So chapter 2, the summary which I can give is Arjuna is filled with sorrow and confusion, refuses to fight, seeing his relatives and teachers on the opposing side. He surrenders to the Bhagwan, seeking guidance, and did Sharanagati. That is what we are also doing, Sharanagati to our Guru. So the vocabulary which I learned from shloka say 1 to 10 was some key words which I like to highlight, like Viveka, Vairagya, Mumukshutvam, Sattva Sampatti, Uparamaha Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam, Samaha, Damaha, Rishikesham, Gudaksheja. These are the key vocabulary which I learned from this shloka 1 to 10. Now shloka 11 to 30, Bhagavan explains that Atma is eternal, indestructible and beyond physical death. The body is temporary, but the soul never dies. It merely transitions from one body to another. A wise person does not mourn for what is perishable. And the learnings from this shloka 11 to 30 is, number one, ignorance. And secondly, the examples which you have been giving, the snake rope example, mirage example, clay pot example, and then there is this Agyasa, Abhimana, Raga Dvesha, then Shoka Nivritti, Nityam, Ajam, Avyanaham, then Atma Swarupa, Atma Sarvagataha, Atma Avinashi, then Stula Sariram, Sushma Sariram, Karana Sariram, then Pancha Karnendiyas, Pancha Pranas, Antakarana, Atma Anatma, Drigdisha Vivekam, Sat Asat, Atma Akarta, Atma Abhokta, then Prarabdha Karma, Agami Karma, Sanchita Karma, then Janma Marana Lakshana. Then Shloka 31 to 38. This basically tells about duty and righteous action. Bhagavan talks about dharma as a warrior to fight for justice. Running away from duty brings dishonor, while fulfilling it leads to your spiritual goals. And the vocabulary which we learned from this is Ahimsa, Satyam, Asteyam, Saucham, Aparigraha, Brahmacharya, Sandosham, Tapaha, Swadhya, surrendering to Ishvara. Then Shloka 39 to 53, Bhagavan introduces Karma Yoga, selfless action without attachment to results. One should perform duties with steadfastness, free from desires. A person established in wisdom remains unaffected by success or failure. And the key learnings from this was Trigunyam Bhavana, Sattva Rajastamo, then Nistrigunya Bhavana, then Nitya Sattvasa Bhavana, Nirogya Shema Bhavana, Atmavan Bhavana, Drishta Phalam, Adrishta Phalam. I am not going into the details of this, I am just putting these points. Then comes the Lakshana of Karma Yoga, which is Samatvam, Kartavyam, Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, Ajata Shatru, Kamya Karma. Then the benefits of Karma Yoga is Viveka, Vairagya and Mumukshutvam. Then Shloka 53 tells us about Jnana Yoga, which is Saravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam. Then Bhagavan says that Jnana is the remedy for samsara, problem is with the world, it is our ignorance. Jnana is the remedy for it. Ignorance is self, Atma. Knowledge is self, will take us out of samsara. Atma Tattva, to get Atma Jnana, mind has to be pure, without Raga Dvesha. And then finally, chapters 2 lays the foundation for Gita teachings, understanding the immortal soul, performing one's duty without attachment, and cultivating wisdom and equanimity. Then comes, this is chapter 2, according to my learning. Now coming to chapter 3, Bhagavan explains the importance of selfless action and why performing one's duty with detachment is essential for spiritual growth. And the key teachings is Shloka 1 to 8, the necessity of action. Arjuna questions Bhagavan, questions why Bhagavan emphasizes action if knowledge is more important. Bhagavan clarifies that no one can remain inactive as the three gunas compel all beings to act. True renunciation is not abstaining from action, but performing duties without selfish attachment. Then comes Shloka 9 to 16, which is sacrifice. Krishna explains that selfless action sustains cosmic order. Ancient sages and gods perform duties as a sacrifice, setting an example for humanity. One who enjoys without offering back to Bhagavan lives in sin. Then Shloka 17 to 24, which is basically duty versus ego driven. A wise person acts without personal desire, only for the welfare of the world. Even great souls like Janaka attain liberation through selfless action, not by abandoning duty. Bhagavan himself, though beyond action, continues to work to set an example for others. Then Shloka 25 to 43, the danger of desire and anger. Desire leads to attachment, which breeds anger and delusion, destroying wisdom. The senses are powerful, but one must control them through discipline. The intellect must be used to subdue lower impulses and remain steady in duty. Then Shloka 30 to 35, the path of Karma Yoga. Surrender all actions to Bhagavan and perform duties without ego. It is better to do one's own dharma imperfectly than to imitate another path perfectly. Evil arises from selfish desire, so one must act in harmony with cosmic law. And the conclusion of chapter 3 is that spiritual growth comes from selfless action, not laziness. Bhagavan teaches that true freedom is not in renouncing work, but in working without attachment, offering all actions to the Bhagavan. These are my learnings.
Very good, Jaramanji. Maybe, I mean, you could have taken some more time to actually elaborate some of the points that you wanted to convey.
No, I could have done. It would have gone into many, many pages. I have taken all your notes and I could have given all the examples what you gave. But it would have gone into many pages.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. You had touched upon a lot of those technical terms. So I do understand that if somebody has got any question on any of those technical terms, any explanation, maybe we can have this session to do that. Or if there are any other person who would want to actually share their understanding, they can do it now as well.
Because see, how you explain is you give a lot of examples and also lot of key vocabulary, which is very important, which is not there in the Gita itself, you know. So those terms are very good to understand, you know.
Yeah. Anybody would want to go? Ashishji, we missed you last week. There was some continuation of the points that you brought out in the week before last. We actually discussed in the last week class some of the questions that were raised by Ganeshji, which were actually sort of a continuation of the points that you had made, and we discussed that last week. Maybe if you get a chance, maybe if you can listen to the recording, it would be good. But are there anything that you would want to bring up, Ganeshji, Ashishji, Venugopalji?
Last week, sorry Guruji, I was not able to attend. There was a marriage in Lucknow, and I was traveling. I was in Lucknow, so could not attend. I will listen to that. Sorry, I have not yet gone through this. Last few weeks, the problem is, I think you're aware, but some people here might not be. The weekends are the only time we're moving into new house, so just weekends become very busy with trying to arrange things as work is going on over there. But yeah, I will listen to this, Guruji, and if there is anything from the last week's session, I will definitely reach out to you. I had given most of my thoughts. I think, honestly, I don't have questions around the teachings that have come through, frankly, because those parts are very clear. I think where I'm always stuck, and I'm working on that, as I explained a couple of weeks back, or put that on the table for everyone, was the struggle of implementing those learnings. Because I think the learnings are fairly simple, logical, and very, very practical. It's more about being able to change myself, and my journey seems to be going round a bit in circles. I come back to the earlier stage, then I again get devoted and push myself forward, and somehow, it's a bit of a circle. But anyways, that's for me to work on, and that's for me to really implement. The thing that I wanted to just focus on is really the karma part. And I think I was just referring to my notes to highlight something from that. And let me just get back to you, Guruji, on that. I'll just bring that up.
Sure, yeah. Sure. I mean, if in case, for people who are listening, if in case you are not taking notes, I would strongly advise you to start taking notes, because that way, the internalization becomes easy, and referring back to your own notes rather than trying to read somebody else's book, it's always better. I mean, to refer to your own notes. Okay.
Just one thing. One thing that I wanted to just give your thoughts once again around that, and it's not really a question. It's just to bring out that explanation a bit again. Is the shloka 45 from chapter 2 had this nice term about equanimity, nirdvandva bhava. So that nirdvandva bhava is the issue that I'm facing all the time. And if you can just kind of explain that along with the niryoga kshema bhava, that is, if you can combine the two and just give, a small, let's say 2-3 minute, 5 minute thing around explaining that part again, it'll be very helpful.
Sure.
Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Actually, I haven't done the kind of notes which you just suggested. Now I am going to do that going forward. So, like now, when asked to give summary like this type, what happens is one is required to kind of literally listen through the whole recordings to make fresh notes, which actually just doesn't happen every time. It's a problem. So I apologize for not taking notes. Going forward, I will do that in your classes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I second that actually. Writing notes is very important. You know, it is a permanent thing. It is in your record. You can see whatever time you want, any time of your life. You know, especially all this the vocabulary which you give. It is not there in the Gita. As simple as that. Okay, the shlokas can be translated, and that can be. You can tell that, but whatever extra you're giving, that cannot be found in the Gita book.
One thing, Guruji, before you go to explaining what I had asked for, I'll just give one of my thoughts which has just come back to me. I think this was at the beginning of the start of chapter 2. You had given this as the core of Advaita, when you had highlighted that core is really Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. And you had specifically used two terms to kind of encapsulate that. One was Swatantriyam and the other was Purnatva, independence and completeness. The message that I had taken out of that session that you had given was that I think our journey starts becoming actually fruitful, and for me that is a big measure of whether I am on that or not, and how far I have managed to travel on that is a simple measure of whether we can enjoy our own company. That message had come out of the fact what you had highlighted was that we should be able to feel happy whether we are in the company of others or not. And or not part is really the critical part, that even when people are not around you, you should be able to enjoy your own company, your own thoughts, your own beliefs. If that starts giving you comfort is when really I think that journey starts, the true journey. I mean, we can keep cleaning up our karmas and all, but the true journey of liberating ourselves starts when we start enjoying our own self, our own thoughts, our own beliefs. And that is something which I have taken to my heart. For me, that's one of the central messages and probably the pole star that is guiding me, that the day I'll start enjoying my company again. And I think at one point in time I had started achieving that a little bit, but somehow again got drawn back into too much of clash, tension, and the other attachments to the world. But yeah, I mean, just for everyone's sake, I'll repeat that is really my pole star to measure whether I'm back on track or not when I can do that. There's just too much going on, whether to follow the politics, whether to follow some good, pushing yourself more as a directive to listen to the sessions that you record and upload. But if I have to push myself, that is still, not a desirable situation. And that's something that kind of encapsulates what I wanted to say. Before you just explain, if you can, the first part which I had highlighted, if you can, please. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you, Ashishji. So, in fact, 3 points you brought out. One was on the nirdvandva, and you also said about enjoying one's own company. That's kind of the start of this, and actually both are related, and I will tell you how. The other part around pushing oneself to actually listen to this, again I've got some thoughts. Maybe I'll share the thoughts as well on that. Now, nirdvandva. This is actually a very frequently used term within Bhagavad Gita. Dvandva means pairs of opposites. And one of the definitions for the world or the universe is actually Dvandvatmaka Jagat. The universe is made of pairs of opposites. Or what is universe? Universe is pairs of opposites. That's what it means. And what are these pairs of opposites? heat and cold, profit and loss, mana and apamana, comfort and discomfort. So Shita Ushna, or healthy and sick, all these are pairs of opposites. Now, Shastras keep saying nirdvandvaha, and this is one way to actually say that how this is actually an outcome or a benefit of following Karma Yoga. As we do Karma Yoga, the benefit that we would see is actually we will be able to transcend this pairs of opposites. And in fact, one of the things that you also measured is how far are we going, how far are we maturing. One way to validate that, or one way to actually measure that, is actually to see how much are we able to take these pairs of opposites in an equanimous manner. So this world is pairs of opposites, means there is no single person who would be having a comfortable life starting from his birth until his death. No person in the world, however rich he may be, however good he may be, there would not be a single person in this universe who would have a fantastic life from beginning to end. And the same thing goes with sorrow also. There will be not a single person in the world who would have a sorrowful life from the start to the end. Everybody will have a fair share of joy and sorrow. That pairs of opposites is certain. And why do we consider especially joy and sorrow? These pairs of opposites, we have many pairs of opposites, heat and cold. But the primary things that we have as a spiritual seeker and as an individual, we look for joy and sorrow. That is the most critical pair of opposite that we are worried about. I should not get sorrow. I should always be happy. We try to avoid sorrowful situations. We try to get out of sorrow. We want to be always joyful. Now, one easy way to do that, to always be in joy, or rather at least avoid sorrowful situations, is to reduce our likes and dislikes. Why do we get sorrowful? Because we get sorrowful only we have a situation which we don't like. I don't like this color. I don't like this person. I don't like this food. I don't like this environment. I don't like that person's way of talking. I get unhappy. So if I am able to reduce my dislike, or if I am able to reduce my attachment to something, because even if I am attached, once it goes out, I get sorrowful again. So if I am able to reduce my dislikes and my attachments, the likelihood of me falling into a sorrowful situation gets lesser and lesser. Obviously, there will be always, life will give us situations where you don't have a choice but to fall in sorrowful situation. But apart from that, many of the sorrowful situations are self-created. Self-created as in, my likes and dislikes are the ones that create that. So that's why Bhagavad Gita says, and Karma Yoga says, Samatvam Yoga Muchyate. What is Karma Yoga? Taking it in an equanimous manner, being equipoised in pairs of opposites. Learn to treat them in the same manner. And how do we do that? One of the things is, if you take it, there are additional other values that will actually help us in terms of treating pairs of opposites in an equanimous manner. One other value is titiksha. Typically, patience, ability to forbear, and the ability to take some bit of pain will help us to actually manage these pairs of opposites better. Suppose I have to go out in a hot sun, or I have to be in a situation where I'm sweating. There is a power cut, or if we get irritated at that point of time, then we are actually adding fuel to this pairs of opposites within us. We are actually adding fuel to the likes and dislikes. At that point of time, if I am able to say to myself, look, okay, I can't do much, let me accept it, and I should not abuse another person because of that, or the system, or should not grumble. If I am able to treat it, okay, it's a passing phase, let me go through it. Initially, we'll have to take it as a passing phase, let me go through it. As we spiritually mature, we will be able to accept it as, just as I am accepting joyful situations, I will start accepting sorrowful situations or discomfort as well. So this is the thing that what Shastras talk about as nirdvandvaha. And this is true for anybody who is born in this world. That's why we say, we give this example of Bhagavan Ram. Bhagavan Ram, when he actually, on the day he was announced that he would be coronated, on that night he slept well. Then the very next day he was told that he needs to go to forest. Now imagine that for 14 years, 11 years or whatever number of years, I'm not sure about, if somebody had to go, let go everything and then go and live alone in a forest, then how would it be? But then it was said that Bhagavan Ram slept, even on that day he slept well. Nothing affected him. Sometimes when we are too excited, we go to a party, we meet so many people, we come back in the night, we are not able to sleep because our thoughts are there. We are always excited. We are not able to sleep. If that could create that much of excitement, imagine you being said that you are going to be the king of the nation. Then how much of excitement it could cause? But he wasn't excited. He was equipoised. And the same thing, if somebody says to you, if somebody hurts us or somebody ignores us in a gathering, we come back in the evening, we actually think about that, and we get so dejected, and we still keep thinking as to how that could happen to me. We don't even go to sleep. Imagine how that could be. If that is what a small thing can cause, then how about saying that, okay, you have to go to a forest now for the next few years alone. Now that's the height of being equipoised. But what I am trying to convey here is, whether you are Bhagavan or a person or a human being, everybody will have to go through these pairs of opposites. So we will have to understand and be able to accept it. And one way to accept it is to actually bring the likes and dislikes, reduce the likes and dislikes, reduce our desires. And the one other thing that we are all having is we always look for comfort. We do not want to get into a discomfort. So if there is, the moment we have a single drop of sweat, we would want to sit in an air-conditioned room. If the legs are paining, immediately we would want to sit down. The moment we feel tired, we want to sleep. That kind of attitude, if it is there then it's going to be difficult for us to overcome the attachment of the body, overcome nirdvandva. It's going to be always difficult. So don't look for comfort at all times. A little bit of difficulty, a little bit of difficulty, if we are able to take it upon ourselves and take that as tapas, then it helps us to overcome. So titiksha, tapas, these are the ways that we can actually overcome to a stage of nirdvandva. These are the ways that we can accept the pairs of opposites. So even if you are not willing to take up your tapas on your own, if there are situations which put us in a sense of discomfort, let us not grumble, let us not abuse someone, let us accept it and take it as Ishvara's way of telling me, look, here is an opportunity for you to do tapas, take this as your tapas, and that way you can spiritually mature. Now, as you said, enjoying one's company means I should be in a position to like myself, like my thoughts. I should be able to like what is around me. Why would how can I enjoy one's company? Only if I am able to be happy around with my thoughts and with whatever things that are around me. And how would I be able to be happy with whatever things that I have? I should be in a position to accept them. I am able to accept the situation that I am in. I am able to accept the way that I am. I am able to accept my body as it is. I am able to accept my mind as it is. I am able to accept my life as it is. And only if I am able to accept things as they are, accept people as they are, then I would be in a position to be happy with myself. And I can be happy if I am alone or if I am in a gathering. Acceptance makes a big difference. Acceptance means, again, not having strong likes and dislikes. So again, it comes to the same thing. Likes and dislikes are the root thing that we have to actually manage. Once we manage that, we will be able to have both, we will be able to get into nirdvandvaha and also start enjoying our own company. So those are the points that I thought I can share on those two. In terms of the third point that you mentioned about, pushing to hear the recording. Like any other good thing in life, Vedanta is also another good thing in life. For any other good thing in life, one needs to have an acquired taste. Needs to be an acquired taste for Vedanta. So which means initially we may have to push ourselves to actually listen to it. But as we listen, we'll come to a stage where, when you are alone, you wouldn't want to hear anything else but to listen to Vedanta. So that is acquired taste. So initially when you are feeling that I am being pushed to do this, that should not be the way. It should come natural. No, that doesn't work. Because our vasanas are too strong for so many years. We will have to push ourselves to do that. So don't feel unhappy. Somebody says, oh, you should not be pushing yourself to do it. It should come natural. No, it won't come natural. It wouldn't come natural. You will have to. Your natural is your svabhava. You may continue to be in your svabhava. That could be natural. But if you want to get something good in life, you will have to push yourself. That's true for any person who had been successful in any aspect of life, whether they are sports persons or champions in any field. They would have pushed themselves to be able to get to that stage, and that is true for Vedanta as well. So if somebody says you shouldn't push yourself to actually listen this, let it come natural, I don't think that's the way to do it. Initially one will have to be pushed into it, but over a period of time, if there is enough punya, which we all have, otherwise we wouldn't be in this class now, we would be able to get this acquired taste, and we will start enjoying the Vedanta lectures. I hope I was able to answer some.
No, that was very helpful. Thank you so much.
Any other questions or points that anybody wants to discuss?
Pranam, so one thing that is, when we discuss about the Bhagavad Gita, simply, even in Karma Yoga, what they say, do your duty without expecting results. But my doubt is whether we can do our duty perfectly without expecting the result. For example, since from childhood we were taught that you have to set a goal, you should aim high like that. So even in matches, you take a game, you are playing the game, that is doing your duty to win the match. But without aiming win, can we play well in that match? That is my doubt.
Yeah.
Please explain.
So when in 247, when we explain also, we would have mentioned this, that no action can be done without any expectation. So if I am actually eating something, even for as good as small thing, for a lunch that I want to eat, I am eating with the expectation that it will actually satisfy my hunger. So no action can happen without any expectation. That is for certain. And every action that we do is with a kind of outcome that we want to get to, and that's why we are doing it. Like for example, even this section that we are attending is with the understanding that, okay, if I keep listening to it, if I am in this path, I would attain moksha. That is the expectation that we have when we are actually in this path of Vedanta also. So there is no action that can happen without any expectation. That is for sure. Now what we are saying, or what Shastras say, is when the results come, accept them. Accept the results as they are. At that point of time, do not grumble, do not abuse, do not get angry, do not get irritated, do not get dejected. That's what it says. And if there is an opportunity for you to try again, do try again. But if there is no opportunity for you to try again, then accept it as it is. So that's what, now how do I, so that's why Karma Yoga, the other thing is expectation of result is one thing. Expectation from people is another thing. I am doing, say for example, an expectation that I am doing my job in my office work, and I expect my project to do well. The project to do well. And that's the reason why I am doing my job. That's perfectly fine. That expectation is fine. But if I am saying I am doing my job, my expectation is my boss will actually praise me. Now, Shastra says do not have that expectation. An expectation on a person that he will actually praise you, or give you bonus, or give you promotion, or you will be recognized, that is not what you are meant for. The output that you should be looking for from an action is the actual effect of the action. For example, if what we try to do is, we have an expectation on something. First we decide the result, what we want to achieve, and the desired result is a promotion, or this person should like me, or this person should praise me, and so on and so forth. So we have kept that as in our mind, and then we do an action thinking that this action will give me that result. So we first decide the result, and then we perform an action, and when the result doesn't match with the action, we blame. How can I actually not, and we blame Shastras to say, of course every action should have to have an expectation. I cannot do anything without an expectation. Yes, but your expectation and the action result related to it are totally different. Your duty is to say, for example, take care of someone. Now, the result should be whether I have taken care properly or not. But then our result is, the result that we have in our mind is whether that person is able to acknowledge me, whether that person thanks me, whether that person likes me or not. Now, this is not the exact match between the action and expectation. Your expectation is different, your action is different. And that's where the problem comes. Otherwise, any expectation with regards to, and sometimes even the expectation, the right expectation we have, I am doing something, for example, and I am not getting the right result. I am doing my best in my company. I am not, the project is still not going well as expected. It's fine. That's when Shastra say accept it as it is. When the Shastra says do not have expectation, when your action and expectations are totally different, they are not related at all, that's when Shastra says do not have expectation, especially expectations around people, and their mind, their thoughts. I should be liked by this person. I should be respected by this person. I should be... that expectation is difficult to manage. If we do not have any expectation at all, then more likely or not, they will actually like you, they will actually respect you. But the moment we give so much of importance to it, anything that they do, we will always feel that they are actually not liking us or they are disrespecting us, because we give so much importance to each and everything that they do or our interaction. But that is different. What we have to do is to do our action with the expectation for what the action is meant to be. And if we do that, there's no problem. And of course, finally, everything is Ishvara Prasada. I hope I was clear there.
Thank you.
Any other concepts or points that you want to discuss? Anybody else? Okay. Any points that you want me to elaborate on? Okay. One thing that maybe I would take this opportunity to explain. A few of you had used the word soul. Now, I would suggest you to use only Atma. Okay. And I would probably clarify what is Atma and the Sharira Trayam, right? Quickly, we have bodies, as in 3 types of bodies. One is the Stula Shariram, or the physical body, that we are able to feel and experience. And the other person is also able to see that. The second is Sukshma Shariram. Sukshma Shariram is the subtle body, which only I can experience, but I can't see. My mind, my intellect. These are things that I am able to experience, but I am not able to see myself. The other person will neither experience that nor see that. Then the Karana Shariram, the third sheet, which neither can I see or experience, nor the others can see or experience as well. Now, what is Atma? Atma is all-pervading, we have already seen. But there is something called the Jiva Atma. Sometimes we call Atma, Paramatma, Jivatma. And then there is a term called Brahman. Now, Brahman is the all-pervading consciousness, which is called as Satchit Ananda, also sometimes referred to as Atma. Why? When do we refer Atma? Atma is when it is actually enclosed in a body, or when not enclosed in a body, I would say. It's like this. We have space. The space is everywhere. Now, within the pot, if I have a pot and there is a space inside the pot also, now that is called as pot space. Now, if the whole space is, if we are able to say it's Brahman, then the pot space is called as Atma. There is only one thing, space. But the space that is enclosed by the contours of the pot is Atma. Similarly, the Brahman that is kind of enclosed within the contours of the body, physical body, is Jivatma. Okay. Now, what is Jivatma also? Jivatma is not a separate being, but the subtle body, the Sukshma Shariram, has got a reflection. It's able to reflect Atma. And that's why when the body, if you look at it, the physical body, the subtle body and the Karana Shariram are all Jadam. Jadam means inert. They do not have this ability to experience or move or be able to be live. The life principle is given by the Brahman, which is actually reflecting on the Sukshma Sharira. What happens during death? The physical body dies or the physical body falls. The Sukshma Sharira and the Karana Sharira, which are subtle and therefore you can't see, they travel out of the body. In fact, what is death? Death is when the Sukshma Sharira and the Karana Sharira leave the body. When they leave the body becomes inert and it falls. It dies. When the Sukshma Sharira and the Karana Sharira takes another physical body, it is considered to be birth. The Atma, Jivatma, is nothing but the reflected consciousness within the Sukshma Sharira. There is no separate Atma other than Brahman, but just there is a reflection. Just like, you have a large mirror and then there is a sun. Now, if you break the mirror into multiple pieces, each mirror reflects a sun. Does it mean there are so many suns? No, there is only one sun, but there are reflections. Each mirror can feel that it is a source of light. If you use that mirror, which has got a reflection of the sun, it is as good as a source of light in darkness. But there is the reflection, it is only a reflection. There is only one original sun. In the same way, this Jivatma is a reflection of the original consciousness. There is only one original consciousness, which is Brahman. This Jivatma, we can call it as Atma, which is a reflected consciousness. I suggest do not use the term soul, because soul, whether it is Jivatma means it is again reflected consciousness plus actually, and reflected consciousness travels along with the Sukshma Sharira. It does not travel alone. The reflected consciousness always travels with the Sukshma, because the reflection is on the Sukshma Sharira. So I would suggest not to use the word soul as much. Use the term Atma and have your understanding clear around what is Brahman, what is Jivatma, what is Sukshma Sharira, what is physical body, and what is Karana Sharira. So because I know that for a few classes, when you were discussing, a few of you had got this term soul, so I wanted to clarify that. The soul that is being referred to in other religions is different. They don't have a concept of Sukshma Sharira, they don't have a concept of reflected consciousness, and there, in fact, that's for the Abrahamic religions. Even if you go to our own Dvaita and Visishta Dvaita, each of the Atmas are individual. They are separate. They are not reflected consciousness in their understanding. If you go to their philosophy, each one is a different Atma by itself. Only in Advaita, we say there is only one Atma, which is Brahman, which is Satchitananda, which is all pervading, and Nityam. It doesn't have any death. So I thought I'll explain that point.
Guruji, I have a query here. Now we have Bhashyams written on Bhagavad Gita by Ramanuja, Madhvacharya, those stream of thoughts also, schools also. How do they interpret these slokas, like where it is said Atma doesn't burn in fire, doesn't wet, and it is Nitya and so on. So what is their interpretation or bhashyam on those things? Any thoughts on that? Because Bhagavad Gita is interpreted by all three schools of Vedantic thought actually. So how does it harmonize or integrate? How do they see it?
I'm not an expert here, but according to my understanding, is that they, for them, Brahman is Mahavishnu. For both Dvaitam as well as Vishishta Dvaitam. So for them, Brahman is Mahavishnu, and therefore Mahavishnu is one who cannot Ajam, he is Achalam, he is all pervading, he cannot be burnt, he cannot be. So for them, Brahman is equal to Mahavishnu, and they apply all these characteristics on him. So that's how they actually.
And the Sthita Prakriti Lakshana and the other things what is spoken about, that they attribute to Jivatma, is it? Like
yes, yes, and they say Jivatma is different, Paramatma is different. In Visishta Advaita, the Paramatma, the Jivatma is separate and yet part of Paramatma, whereas in Dvaita, the Jivatma and Paramatma are totally different. And in both Jivatma and in Dvaitam, Jivatma and Paramatma cannot merge. In Visishta Advaita, the Jivatma can be an anga, and not particularly a body, but the Jivatma can become a flower in the feet of Mahavishnu in Vaikunta once they get mukti. So their mukti, they do not have a concept of Jivan mukti. They have only a concept of Videha mukti. And that's the reason why I say, so strongly advise people to listen to only one philosophy, one school of thought, and preferably to only one guru until the time that you have the capability to sort of understand that this and that are different. But if you start going to any ISKCON or anything, it can get confusing. I would strongly advise not to. If it's going for only a chanting purposes, it's fine. But if you start listening to anybody who is non-Advaitic teacher, then it's going to be difficult. But within Advaita, it's fine. So you have Swami Sarvapriyananda and Arsha Vidya, Arsha Bodha Gurus. All are Advaitic. Chinmaya Mission is Advaitic. Those are all fine. But if you go to any of the Vaishnava Sampradaya Gurus, like Velukudi or Dushyant Sridhar or any of those persons, if you are listening to philosophy, you might get confused.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. If not, then from next week we'll start chapter 4. Unless anybody wants to actually say anything now. Otherwise, I will start on chapter 4 next class. And I will strongly advise, if you are not start taking notes, please do. So we'll again meet in the next class. And if I'll upload this session as well. And please listen to these recordings if you have any doubts. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo